Damas y caballeros, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. David Hayes-Bautista, Professor of Medicine at UCLA, and I am honored to present our Cinco de Mayo theatrical that depicts actually historically accurate reenactments of the original Cinco de Mayo events as they occurred here in California, here in Los Angeles 160 years ago, today, actually just right around here, right in this very neighborhood. And now I'd like to present to you your narrator for the afternoon, Doña Rosario Díaz.
Bienvenidos, damas y caballeros. I am Rosario Díaz, and today I will be your narrator. I was born in the state of Sinaloa, Mexico in 1835 and came to Los Angeles with my mother before 1850. I witnessed how the U.S. Civil War and the French invasion of Mexico affected Latinos in California and the West. We celebrate Cinco de Mayo widely here in the United States, while in Mexico, it's barely even noticed. Why is that? Well, the Cinco de Mayo holiday was not invented in Mexico. It was invented by Latinos in California 160 years ago. As a celebration of our commitment to democratic government and full citizenship for persons of all races and ethnicities, the same values that form the foundation for today's cry for social justice. Bearing the flags of the U.S. and Mexico, California's Latinos have proudly made our voices heard, with speeches, parades, toasts, to let the world know where we stood on the issues behind the U.S. Civil War, as well as the French invasion of Mexico.
Seminario y universidad, y arriba al progreso déjame gritar, y a la pasadita tanarinarán, y a la pasadita tanarinarán. Un señor obispo de muchos que hay, contra las reformas protestó la paz, y de esa protesta que resultará de grito la echaron a la maldad, y en la pasadita tanarinarán, y en la pasadita tanarinarán.
It was 1847 and Alta California was a territory of Mexico. But there was a war being fought between the United States and Mexico over the future of the Southwest. Many Californios fought to protect California from the US's expansion, but in the end, Mexico was forced to sign the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, giving up nearly half of its territory. California with its people became part of the United States.
Extra, extra, read all about it! On this second day of February, 1848, under the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, the land of Alta California shall become property of the United States, and all residents hereupon shall become United States citizens.
¿Ya no seremos mexicanos, mamá?
Siempre seremos mexicanos y siempre seremos californios. And now we are American citizens too.
So what's going to happen to us? What are the new rules? What does this mean? We are American citizens?
I'm not sure, mijita. We'll just have to wait and see.
Cangrejos al combate, cangrejos al compás, un paso de adelante, 200 para atrás. Casacas y sotanas dominan donde quiera, los sabios de Montera felices nos harás. Justicia, viva la libertad, ¿quieres inquisición? Ja, 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 ja. Vendrá Pacho del Río y nos azotará. Maldita pederasta que propios nos recuerda. Hoy los pueblos en cuerda se miran desfilar. ¿A dónde vais, arrieros? Dejad estos costales. Aquí hay centros oficiales que habíais de transportar. Cangrejos al combate, cangrejos al compás. Un paso adelante, 200 para atrás. Justicia, viva la libertad. ¿Quieres inquisición? Ja, 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 ja. Vendrá Pacho del Río y nos azotará. Ordiendo veno fuerte en el orio la escrita. En la herbaria de Guarita el fuero militar. Nerviosos vencedores de juegos y pardales. Se alpacan nuestros planes, las padres desearán. Cangrejos al combate, cangrejos al compás. Un paso de adelante, 200 para atrás. Justicia, viva la libertad. ¿Quieres inquisición? Ja, 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 ja. Pancha Pachón de Río y nos azotará. Negocio de artesanos, el puto por la leva. Y al mercado lleva el indio su huacán. Horrible contrabando, cual plaga lo denuncio. Pero entronante anuncio repite sin cesar. Cangrejos al combate, cangrejos al compás. Un paso de adelante, 200 para atrás. Justicia, viva la libertad. ¿Quieres inquisición? Ja, 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 ja. Vendrá Pachón del Río y nos azotará.
Then, gold was discovered in Northern California.
Oro! Oro! There's gold in California! There's gold in California!
Over the next decade, waves of people came. In wagons, on ships, on horseback, and on foot. Latinos already in the state, and from all over Latin America, arrived early, not only mining, but also opening businesses throughout California. Mexico was one of the first countries to abolish slavery, and Spanish-speaking Californios were influential in creating the political foundations of the new U.S. state of California. They helped write the state's first ever constitution in English and Spanish, which specifically outlawed slavery. California's admission as a free state upset the delicate balance between slave and free states. The southern states interpreted Abraham Lincoln's election to mean that their property rights over slaves would no longer be protected. Nearly all southern states seceded and asserted themselves to be a new nation, the Confederate States of America, founded on the institution of slavery. And on April 12, 1861,
Attack on Fort Sumter! The Civil War has begun! Papers, 10 cents!
Did you hear? The southern states want to form their own country so that they can keep slavery. They have declared war against the Union. We are in a civil war. This man, Jefferson Davis, has been named the President of the Confederate States of America. This is bad news. You see the speech his Vice President gave last week? Right here. Ladies and gentlemen.
Gentlemen, I, Alexander Stephens, Vice President of the Confederate States of America, believe our government is founded upon the great truth that the Negro is not equal to the white man, that slavery and subordination is his natural and normal condition. Brothers, keep your armor bright and your powder dry.
Can you believe this? They really believe this stuff. And if those Confederates say black people are meant to be slaves because they're not white, then what about us? We're not white. If the South wins, I don't even want to think about what might happen to us.
The fact that people in the South are willing to go to war to keep slavery, no lo puedo comprender.
Our rights to freedom, equality, and democracy could slip away with this war.
Then, in 1862,
France invades Mexico. This just in, La Voz de Mexico. France invades Mexico.
Did you hear? France has invaded Mexico. While the U.S. is busy fighting the Confederates, Napoleon III of France is trying to take over Mexico and overthrow its democratically elected government of President Benito Juarez to replace it with a monarchy.
He plans to install Maximilian of Austria and his wife Carlota as Emperor and Empress of Mexico. They might cooperate with the slave states in the rebellion against the United States.
Nunca pasa de monigote, se hagan chiquitos, se hacen grandotes y nunca pasa de monigote.
Latinos in California viewed the French intervention in Mexico and the U.S. Civil War as essentially two fronts in the same war. Because the majority of California's Latinos believed in freedom and democracy, they supported the Union in the U.S. Civil War and President Juarez's government in Mexico's struggle against the French.
If France conquers Mexico, who will stop them from taking over more countries?
If they get the French support, the Confederates could grow too strong. They might take California, then we might become slaves, without land and without rights.
It is all one war. If we lose one, we lose them both. It sounds like we are already headed in that direction. The war is closing in on us, there is more and more discrimination, and we are losing battle after battle in Mexico and in the United States.
But in California, Nevada, and Oregon, Latinos read unexpected news from Puebla and immediately began celebrating with music, dances, speeches, and toasts. These celebrations mark the beginning of the Cinco de Mayo holiday invented in California in 1862.
Long live Mexico! Long live the independence! Long live the brave Mexican soldiers! The French have retreated to Veracruz!
Today, we celebrate our victory in Puebla against the French! And we remind the South that we will not tolerate slavery, monarchy, or any form of oppression. El Cinco de Mayo will go down in history as a day of freedom, democracy, and hope. Now, raise your glasses. A toast to Presidente Benito Juárez y al General Zaragoza. ¡Que viva! ¡Que viva el presidente Abraham Lincoln! ¡Que viva! ¡Que viva la democracia y la libertad! ¡Que viva!
Qué chula es Puebla, qué linda qué chulas Puebla, qué linda, qué linda, qué chulas Puebla, qué chulas Puebla, qué linda, qué linda, qué chulas Puebla. Puebla querida, por quien daría la vida, como te doy mis cantares. Qué chulas Puebla, qué linda, qué chulas Puebla, qué chulas Puebla, qué linda, qué chulas Puebla. Cuando no piso tu suelo, es tan grande mi desvelo que la nostalgia me mata. Qué chula Puebla, qué linda, qué chulas Puebla, qué chulas Puebla, qué linda, qué chulas Puebla.
Most of California's Latinos were convinced it was their duty to help fight for freedom and democracy. They decided that their main contribution to the fight would be money. Throughout California and in parts of Nevada and Oregon, they formed grassroots organizations called the Juntas Patrióticas Mexicanas, which collected donations to send to Juárez's government in Mexico.
Today, we band together to join our brothers in...
And sisters!
Oh yes, thank you, and our sisters in the fight by forming Juntas Patrióticas Mexicanas here in California.
Yes.
These juntas are our way of standing up and making a change. Most of us are ordinary working people, but together we can raise the money that Mexico's troops need to fight contra los franceses.
Hey.
What's a junta patriótica, Papa?
The Junta Patriótica is a way of putting all of us together to make sure that we fight for what is right. It's our way of making change. It's our way of making sure that you and all the little kids grow up to be free and happy.
And the beautiful thing about our organization is all of us coming together from different countries for one cause, para la democracia.
Yo soy colombiano. Benito is from Nicaragua. His wife is from Mexico. If Mexico falls to France, what will stop them from coming after everyone afterwards? Nicaragua, Venezuela, Chile, Colombia. See, we're all intertwined. If one falls, we all fall. It's our collective responsibility to make sure that we reach out and everyone joins this noble cause.
Yes.
And I am a Californiano. Mira, todos somos Latinos y todos tenemos las ganas de ser libre. Now, let us go into the streets and recruit our people to our cause.
Go.
After their defeat at Puebla, the French regrouped and began a new campaign the following year. After a 2-month siege, Puebla surrendered, and the French took Mexico City the next month. The men of California's Juntas Patrióticas were demoralized by the news, and donations dropped off noticeably. A few weeks later, in Los Angeles, a Mexican immigrant named Francisca Manso de Cavazos called a meeting of concerned Latinas for the radical purpose of founding a Junta Patriótica made up entirely of women who would pick up where the men had left off.
Welcome. We all know what serious times we are living in and what is at stake, so thank you for coming. Now, without further ado, let us hear from Francisca Manza de Cavazos.
Conciudadanas, soy mexicana, soy mujer, y mi corazón no ha podido menos que estremecerse al considerar los sacrificios que el pueblo mexicano está haciendo para defender la independencia, la libertad y el honor de mi patria. If our weak constitution does not allow us to take up arms to defend public liberties, this is no reason to lack the common sense that we should appreciate liberty and even sacrifice our existence. Digamos a Napoleón que si mueren todos los mexicanos, quedamos nosotras las mujeres. Nosotras también sabremos morir como heroínas, dignas del nombre mexicano. Hermanas, are you with me? Sí. Que viva la independencia, la reforma y la libertad de México. ¡Que viva! Viva Juárez y Lincoln. ¡Que viva! Libertad e independencia o muerte.
Besides raising funds, the Juntas de Señoras made Latina women visible and empowered in political life in California. The second woman to address her peers was Mexican immigrant Teodosia Enriquez de Gonzalez. She boldly stated,
I wish it were permitted for women to take up arms. With what pleasure would I go to the front lines and pay my homeland the tribute that I owe it? But distance deprives us of that pleasure. And the only thing we can do is to send our modest donations and help the army that is defending our nationhood. Paisanas, yo les invito a nombre de la patria que les ayudemos con nuestros pequeños recursos, pues somos dividiosas y no permitiremos que ellos sean más patriotas que nosotras.
Dame un traguito para Celini, Juanito, ay de mí, dame un traguito para Celini. Dicen piensan los franceses que han venido a los inviernos, aquí no tenemos cuernos, nos ponemos muchas veces. Juanito, ay de mí, dame un traguito para Celini, Juanito, ay de mí, dame un traguito para Celini. Si no me veo bajito, con pico de filigrana, dame un frente borrachito, la verdad no tengo ganas. Si me corre todo el grito, canto por ser mexicana. Juanito, ay de mí, dame un traguito para Celini. Juanito, ay de mí, dame un traguito para Celini. Y si no los vistos vende, un perdizo me tiraba. Yo le digo no lo entiende, que el por ser muy se acaba. Que no chine con el viernes, y hace la que lo daba. Juanito, ay de mí, dame un traguito para Celini. Juanito, ay de mí, dame un traguito para Celini. Quise un pez en su retaco, dame un buen con diamantes. Y le digo mi chilaco, rancho lleno de tarantes. Y Juanito para el taco, pero ya tiene mandantes. Juanito, ay de mí, dame un traguito para Celini. Juanito, ay de mí, dame un traguito para Celini. Barriga de un guaje, aplican el mausoleo, el amigo presentado, siempre duele de tapón, porque no se está tornado, para nada reacción. Juanito, ay de mí, dame un traguito para Celini. Juanito, ay de mí, dame un traguito para Celini. Juanito, ay de mí, dame un traguito para Celini. Juanito, ay de mí, dame un traguito para Celini. Juanito.
When Latina women in other parts of California heard about the founding of the Junta Patriótica de Señoras in Los Angeles, they were inspired to organize similar groups in San Jose, Marysville, Sonora, and Hornitos, at the new Almaden and Guadalupe mines near San Jose and in Virginia City, Nevada. Every Cinco de Mayo during the Civil War, Latinos in the American West would gather to celebrate and hear speeches. The memory of Cinco de Mayo kept alive the flames of freedom, equality, and democracy in California's Latino communities.
Thank you all for coming to the second anniversary celebration of El Cinco de Mayo. Today, a young leader and active member of the Junta Patriótica de Señoras will speak. Please welcome Arcadia Ruiz de Alvarado.
My people, we are here to celebrate the anniversary of the victory in Puebla. It was a victory not only for Mexico, but also for the United States, for democracy and freedom from slavery. We refuse to live as slaves. If one of us is enslaved, then all of us are. Where oppression chokes the life of one, it suffocates us all. On this great day of Cinco de Mayo, we remember the power of hope, the power of the people to overcome great odds. And we remember that we have won in the past and we will win again. Now, let us celebrate.
After the Confederate States of the South surrendered in 1865 and slavery was finally abolished, the United States at last was able to turn its attention to the situation in neighboring Mexico. When the U.S. threatened to come to President Juárez's aid, Napoleon III faced the prospect of fighting both the Mexican army and the U.S. He recalled his troops from Mexico, leaving Maximilian with very little support. His wife Carlota left to France to try to persuade Napoleon to reconsider. Latinos in California sarcastically waved her goodbye. Adios, Mama Carlota.
Alegre marinero con voz pasada canta, le dan pega y levanta con extraño rumor, la navega en los mares botando cual pelota. Adiós mamá Carlota, adiós mi tierno amor, de la remota playa te mira con tristeza, la estúpida nobleza del mocho y el traidor, que el hondo de su pecho ya sienten su derrota. Adiós mamá Carlota, adiós mi tierno amor, acábense en palacio, tertulias, juegos, bailes, agítenle los frailes y en fuerza del dolor, la chusma de las cruces, gritando en su agarrota. Adiós mamá Carlota, adiós mi tierno amor. Murmuran suavemente los tristes chambelanes, lloran los capellanes, las damas de honor, y el triste chucho hermosa cantando lira rota. Adiós mamá Carlota, adiós mi tierno amor, y en tanto los chinacos ya cantan la victoria, guardando tu memoria sin miedo ni rencor, dicen mente del viento, tu embarcación hacia otra. Adiós mamá Carlota, adiós mi tierno amor, adiós mamá Carlota, adiós mi tierno amor.
Her efforts did not work. Maximilian was captured by the Mexicans and executed. And Benito Juárez, once again, was president of a free and democratic Mexico.
At last, we are free! We won! We won!
And that is the real Cinco de Mayo. Latinos coming together to make this the amazing state you live in. Without our contribution, contributions, the U.S. might have been split apart, and slavery might have never been abolished. We helped win the Civil War because we won at Puebla on el Cinco de Mayo. And it happened because of everyday people throughout California standing up for their rights and working together for democracy and freedom. Latinas and Latinos in California and all across the U.S. continue to be active in business, politics, and social causes today, upholding the cherished values of freedom, equality, and human rights. ¡Que viva el 5 de Mayo!
Damas y caballeros, ladies and gentlemen, ese fuerte aplauso, por favor, big round of applause for our teatro presenter, Dr. Hayes-Bautista. Now, how about a round of applause for the pioneering dance company, Ballet Folklórico, Flor de Mayo. And let's show our appreciation for their director and choreographer, Raquel Ramírez. And of course, a big round of applause, ese fuerte aplauso que se escuche para la Plaza de Cultura y Artes, en especial a Jimena Martín, Director of Public Programs. And of course, we also have Iván Carrasco and everyone here in la plaza. Fuerte aplauso, por favor, para todos ellos. And then a big round of applause for Mariachi de Uclatlán for providing the live music. Oh yeah. And of course, las pantallas and audio, Master Entertainment, Misael Ensemble. Big round of applause for them. And a special thanks to our executive producer, Adriana Valdez, and assistant producer, Giselle Hernandez, along with our CESLAC chief of staff, Seda Santizo Greenwood, and our narrator, Alejandra Osorio. Eso. And of course you've heard him, he was playing earlier. We got DJ Roberto Carlos, va a estar tocando más. Y también we have our videographer, Miguel Loza, that's around here, and everybody else, todas las personas que hicieron esto posible. Un aplauso, por favor, para todos ellos. Big round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, Cinco de Mayo is more than just drinking, okay? This is the story. If you want to know more information, there's the booth back there. Compren el libro, please, buy the book. If you want to know more, allá está disponible. Pero muchísimas gracias, yo soy Dani Muñoz. Un aplauso para todos ustedes. No se acaba el show, ahorita les vamos a tener un show de mariachi y tenemos más del DJ. Así que un aplauso una vez más para todos ustedes. This was the real Cinco de Mayo. Gracias.